So this will be for module 2 of our discussion in statistics. Okay. Uh, After we have finished much on the metrics of statistics, now we're going to put them in a practical use. Right. So mainly with regards to probability and counting techniques. Right. So this is one of the most important part or practical application of statistics, wherein we collect the data and then apply them accordingly to know or to at least to project and quantify the chances that those items are going to happen or going to happen again. All right. So first, on my left side is the slide, and then on the right side we have the notes. Let's see if this will be okay. I think it's okay now. Okay. So we have probability introduction. So I'm gonna be breaking this up into several videos so that it will be bit more digestible. At least no, you can concentrate on several parts first, and then we're gonna be collectively discussing it. Some of the examples you'll be adding from the previous lessons together with the lesson today. All right. So our introduction. So what is or what are possibilities? When we say possibilities, okay, possibilities, it simply means the events or items that are possible to happen based on a given circumstances. Okay. So let's say for example, what are the possibilities that you will win the lottery? Of course, there are several factors that you need to consider. Is it a possibility for you to win a lottery if you are not actually betting on it, no, hindi ka tumataya sa lottery. So, yung possibility na yung imposible, no, there's an impossibility. So, possibility is equals to zero. But if you are, it changes a lot if you are actually betting, no, and how many times are you betting, and what are or how many numbers are you betting at? Okay, so those things are with those circumstances or parameters as we um, mentioned before, no, possibilities can be quantified. All right. So before we go there on quantifying them together, first we need to know how to count them, okay, or how to properly account each of the possible or each of the possibilities an event can happen. Okay. So first is we need to know how to count. So what is counting? Okay. Counting is merely what? What do you mean by counting? Counting is what? Merely, okay, or representing quantities. Sorry. Representing quantities, okay, or quantification, counting. Okay. So here we can see that possibilities comes from experiment or processes that leads to outcomes. So possibilities means the outcome of certain experiments. So again, we can relate this term possibilities equals to outcomes based on a certain, okay, based on a certain experiment, okay, or the list of possibilities or possible outcomes. Okay, the set of all outcomes is what we call the sample space. So sample space, okay, you need to what do you call this, memorize this jargons, ha, meaning all possible outcomes. So, you need to figure out all the possible outcomes or all the possibilities that there will be when we say we ask for the sample space. Later on, we will be using them intensively. Alright? So, a goal is to count all the possible outcomes in an experiment. Okay? Kasi nga counting theory siya eh. So, what we need to do is to determine all of the possibilities. No? So, let's say for example, you have um, a way to go to the left and a way to go to the right. So, what are the possibilities for you to choose? Given those two possibilities. So, the left, going to the left and going to the right are what we call sample space. Later, we will be doing a more elaborate example for that so that you can get. Okay? So, a set of techniques used for identifying the total number of possibilities of a statistical experiment is without enumerating the elements of the sample space. Okay, so this means that we are just representing the number, okay, the number of possible outcomes. Okay, or binibilang lang natin. Okay, sorry, inom ako. Alright, so let's go to the next slide. So the first counting technique is what we know is the multiplication rule. Okay, so let's say for example, okay, the multiplication rule goes as this, no? So you multiply the number of possibilities. Okay, so let's try the example, flipping a coin, one at a time for 2 rounds. Okay, so let's flip a coin. Okay. So when you say we flip a coin, or whenever we flip a coin, so there are two possibilities. We have the heads and we have the tails. So whatever. So there are two faces of the coin. So in one flip, we have how many possible outcomes. Okay. So let's say we try it out. No? You flip it out muna. We have what? For one flip or for one toss, we have what? Two possible outcomes. Correct? Why? Because you have heads or tails. Correct? Now, if we're going to flip it for 2 rounds, no? How many possible outcomes do you think there are in this experiment? Okay, so you may say, oh yeah, it's still 2 because um, for the first possible outcome, you still have heads and tails. And for the second outcome, you still have heads and tails. So you have what? 1, 2, 3, 4. Correct? In total. So if you have 3, you have 6. And so forth and so forth. But for this example, what if the first outcome and the second outcome are related? For the second flip, or we care about what happened previously. So you also have two possible outcomes, right? For the second flip, we did not change coins. We still have the heads and tails. However, it changes the counting if we care about what happens in the first round. Okay, so this example is very good. Okay. So in the first round, you have heads or tails. Okay. In the second round, okay, you still have heads or tails if you're gonna be looking at it in a very stringent manner. However, it diverges into what? Into two heads or tails. Why? Because you care about the first round. Okay, you care about the output of the first round. Alright? So that is why it becomes like this. Becomes heads or tails. Right? First outcome or the first round. Round 1. And then it diverges again to another heads or tails. Why? Because we care for the second round or what happened in the second round. Alright, so how many are there? Possibilities. So let's try to list it out. So outcomes. Okay. If in the first round he gets ahead and the second round he gets ahead, that's one outcome. First round he gets another head. In the second round he gets a tails. Okay, so these two are two outcomes already. But if he gets a tails in the first round, he might have another heads in the second round or another tails. So all of these are the outcomes of the 2 rounds. So how many are there? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 possible outcomes. Alright? So you may say, okay, it's just multiplying by 2. Let's see if it does multiply by 2. Okay, let's add another round. Okay? Okay, so let's add another round. Okay, so copying this, we have the third round. Okay, or round 3. So again, in round 3, we still have 2 possibilities. So we have heads and tails again. Then another heads and tails for based on this one. Heads and tails based on this one. Okay, for just round 3. Okay, now, we're going to have a little bit of a difficulty with regards to the let's a little bit zoom it out if it is okay. Okay na yan. Okay, so we have 3. Again, round 3. Now, if we're gonna be carrying or checking out in this term the number of heads, no, for each round, or the number of outcomes for each round. If we're gonna look at this one, we have what? Heads, tails, heads, tails, head, tails. Yes, no. Okay, so you can go ahead of me. So I'll just lang to lang this one to demonstrate it properly. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you have 8 outcomes. So for 3 flips, these are all the possible outcomes. Okay? Or what we call the sample space. Okay? So this is the sample space. Okay? Now, if I'm going to ask you, or there's a question that, what is the sample space of flipping 3 coins or 4 coins? So you're going to, what? So this is 8, no? 8 possible outcomes. So you're going to list it down. But if you're asked, how many? Okay, how many elements are there in the sample space when we flip 3 coins, or we flip a coin 3 times? Okay, so you have 8. So if you're gonna look at this one, no, at the first round, if there is only one round, for only one round, we have 2 outcomes, right? For 2 rounds, we have what? How many? Kanina. Now we have what? Ito lang. We have 4 outcomes. Correct? If 3, how many? We have 8 outcomes. Now, if you're gonna look at this, there's a pattern already, no, that we can establish. No? Let's say 4 rounds. Now, we don't need to list it down, pero if you want to list it down, please go ahead. We may have 16 outcomes. Okay? So, if we have n rounds, or how many rounds? We have n, no? You can say that there are 2 raised to the n outcomes for the coin. Alright? We have 2 raised to the n outcomes when you flip a coin. Why? 2 refers to the what? To the base outcomes. Okay? And n refers to the either number of coins, number of rounds, or number of coins tossed. Okay? So 2 to the n. Alright? Does it make clear? Hope it's clear, ha? In regards to this matter. Okay? Paikliin lang natin ito nasa ano. Okay? So we have what? In this example, we have 2 raised to the n. Okay, now, let's make sense of this muna. Ito, multiplication rule. Okay, na nandito. Yung n times 1, n times 2, n times 3. Sir, kasi sabi sa book or dito sa slide, we have n1 times n2, n3 are n ways. No? Sir, paano ibig sabihin yan? Okay, so paliwanag lang natin to ha. Then balikan natin tong nasa ano. Okay, so the multiplication rule states that what? Multiplication rule. Ito yung general formula niya. So n1 times n2 times n3 blah 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 n to the k ways where n1 okay is task 1 with n ways, no? N2 is task 2 with n2 ways or different na number ng ways, no? So on and so forth hanggang kay nk is task k with nk ways. Or in other words, okay, let's say balikan natin to ha. Yung unang round, we have two outcomes, correct? So this is what we can say this is n1. Okay? Sa second round, ano yung tinos natin coin ulit, diba? So this is n2. Tama? Okay. Next is n3, correct? And then n4, and then nk na lang yan. Okay? So if we're gonna be using the multiplication rule with this one, we can say that actually this one follows the same rule. Wherein, okay, in round 1, we have n1 ways. Correct? In round 2, we have n2 ways. Okay? Round 3, we have n3 ways. Okay? And so on and so forth hanggang round k, we have n of k ways. Sa n1k, ilan ba yung possible results ng coin? We have 2. Correct? In n2, we also still have 2. Actually, we're still using the same coin. Okay? Using the same coin. So 3 din, ganun din, dalawa din, hanggang n to the k, since we're still using the same coin, we are dealing with 2 possible outcomes for each of the task. Okay? So in total, the number of ways, no, for us to do this is what? 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Kung ilan mang rounds, no? Kung ilang mga rounds yan, no? Kaya siya naging 2 raised to n. Okay? Kung ilang man rounds yun. Alright? Or ilang man coins yung sabay-sabay mong i-toss. Okay? Na gets? Okay? So for you to be able to get it, let's have another example, ha? Sorry, ito pala yun. Okay? Let's have another example. Okay. So, let's say we toss or we suppose a dice, a 6-sided dice, and a coin, or a 6-sided dice is tossed muna. Is tossed or is cast. Is cast. Okay. Twice. Okay, is cast twice. How many possible outcomes are there? Okay. So, nilagyan muna natin ito ha. Okay. So, you have a dice. A 6-sided dice is what? Ilan yung mga possible outcomes niya? Okay, sa 6-sided dice, of course, you have what? We have, ilan? 6 possible outcomes. Okay, so ito yung 1. Tama. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay? So these are the 6 possible outcomes. Correct? Or numbers 1 to 6. Wala nang pagkaiba. Right? Now, what will happen if you cast it twice? Okay? Based on our multiplication rule, ano yun? Ilan siya dapat? We have 6-sided, no? So, if this is task 1, we have 6. Now, task 1, we have what? 6 sides. And then task 2, we have another 6 sides, or 6 possible outcomes. So, the total of outcomes, or the sample space we have here is what? 6 times 6, or 36. Does it make sense? 36 siya. So, tignan natin, ha? Okay, so suppose in a turn 1, we have what? Or cast 1, we dealt with 1. Okay, cast 2. Sa cast 2, syempre, maulit-ulit yung isa dito, ang possible, no? Pwedeng 1, pwedeng 2, pwedeng 3, pwedeng 4, no? Pwedeng 5, pwedeng 6, no? Kung yan yung cast 1, unang cast, tama? Kung yan yung lumabas, yung possible na lalabas sa kabila is 1 to 6 ulit. Correct? So, for this one, you have what? No? 6. And then, for cast, what if your cast 1 naman is 2 naman ang lumabas? No? So, syempre, yung cast 2 mo rin, 1 to 6 pa rin ulit yung pwedeng possible na lumabas. Correct? 3, 4, 5, 6. Correct? So, yun ulit. And then, so on and so forth hanggang makarating ka kay 6. No? Cast 1, cast 2. So, you have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yan. So, if you're gonna be collecting all of it, no, 6 yan. 6, 6. No? 16 to. Pusin natin to. Alam mo kayo reference. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? No? Kung ilan man yung lumabas dito, we have 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6. No? So, this is for the 1. This is for 2. This is for 3. This is for 4. This is for 5. And then this is for 6. Yan. So you have 36. You have 36 possible outcomes. Makes sense? Makes sense, no? Okay. So you have 36. Now, for your exercise, gets to ha. So if you have 3, syempre pag 3, no, what if there are 3, or what if they cast it 3 times, no? Okay, how big is the sample space then? So, you have what? If there are 3, you have 6, no, possible outcomes. Okay, outcomes. And then, i-release natin siya sa n. Number of times or dice. So, kung 3 dice yung hinagis niya, sabay-sabay, or 3 beses niya kinas yung dice, now we have 6 raised to 3. Okay, so that is what? 6 raised to 3 is, sa calculator. So, we have 6, now raised to 3, we have 216. Okay? Make sense? Okay? So, gawa tayo ng isa pang example for you, ha? Okay? So, natin, a coin and a dice was cast. Yes. Tossed na lang. Okay, a coin, no, and a dice. Okay, so, how big is the sample space? Yan, okay? So, balikan natin siya sa susunod na video. Okay? Yan. So, a coin and a dice was tossed. How big is the sample space? Alright? So, balikan natin siya sa susunod, ha? This next video. Okay? So, check nyo muna to. Reviewin muna natin to. Reviewin nyo muna to nasa slides. Okay? So, ito later. I-discuss natin ito after we, so that meron tayong reviewer. Alright? I see you on the next video.